Hello and welcome, my partners in crime. Now, another update case for you. You know, and I think it depends how you're going to look at this case right from the beginning to see how you're going to find what I'm going to tell you. Now, listen, the man convicted, this is a Clydach murder update case, and this is October, 2021. So, we got this, what they call the serial killer, okay? They said, this man convicted of murdering 3 generations of the same family more than 20 years ago has died in prison. So Di Morris, or David Morris, Di he liked to be called, was 59. They say he killed Mandy Power, 34, and her bed-ridden mother, Doris Dawson, and she was 80. And then her daughter Katie was 10, and also Emily, her 8-year-old daughter. So there was 3 generations of this family that were murdered on, this night. Now, and I think that was in June 1999, and that was in Clydach, near Swansea. Apologise to all my Welsh friends and followers, but I'm no good at Welsh. But it's near Swansea anyway. Now, the 4 of them were bludgeoned to death with a pole before their house was set on fire. So, listen, there wasn't much forensic evidence. There wasn't a lot going on here. I don't think there's any forensic evidence, actually. And if you want to know more about this case, and I've done this case as well, but this is an update to say to you about Di passing away. Now, there's a lot of people that do not believe that Di Morris committed these murders, and to tell the truth, I'm not convinced he did either. Right? I'm just really not. I don't think there's enough evidence there to have given this man, a minimum of 32 years in prison, without that evidence really being there. But there was 2 trials and this, that, and the other, and other people were like, well, put up this murder, but there is no evidence. There is no evidence to say specifically that Di Morris did this murder. So this is what makes this quite sad, really. Because listen, what we've got to think here is that we've got 4 people had died, 3 generations in the same family. And I've said this in the first video I did on this. So justice needs to be served. But justice needs to be served for the right person or persons concerned in this case. Because if Di didn't do it, right, which many think he didn't, many think he didn't, then the person that killed 3 generations, including 2 young children, is still out there. And so this was a big issue with this case. Now, everyone thinks, I think, that this case is now going to, slow down, or no one's going to mention it. But David Morris, or Di Morris's family, have continually said, no, we're going to fight this. We want his name cleared, because they didn't believe that he had it in him to do these murders. They really didn't. So their fight continues on, really, for this family to clear Di Morris's name. Now, there has been a little bit of stuff said about, his death, because he died in prison. He just walked out of his cell and he dropped down dead. Now, listen, prison. I think his daughter has said, or his sister has said, that there is nothing untoward towards his death. He just died in prison. There's always going to be an inquest or inquiry when a prisoner dies in prison. There is. I don't think it's come back yet, actually, everything about his autopsy, because there's waiting for toxicology and different things like this. But when we talk about going to prison, and I say this about lots of prisoners, right? Most prisoners, really. You have your liberty taken away. Now, usually, you have done the crime, right? And don't forget, a lot of people go to prison, and always continue saying, I'm innocent, right? But say you were really innocent. Say you were fitted up. Say you were really innocent, and no one, apart from your family and a few thousand people that have worked on this case, believe that you're innocent. You're in prison for a very long time, over 20 odd years in prison, for a crime that you probably didn't commit, or a crime that you yourself know you didn't commit. The stress of prison life is hard enough if you've done the crime. Believe it. Especially for this sort of crime. It's very difficult. for these prisoners. But say you didn't do it. Say you know you didn't do it. You're an innocent man in prison, living the prison life for 20 odd years. There's over 20 odd years. The stress of that would cause you to age, I suppose, very quickly. You know, the stress of fighting, you know, maybe just give up. So anyway, listen, the coroner found nothing untoward in Di's body at autopsy. As I said, the toxicology is waiting because I have to have a look. We all know there's drugs and God knows what else in prison, but we don't know if he took anything like that. And I think at the moment the coroner's saying it's natural causes, because it probably is natural causes. But natural causes from stress, it could be. Now listen, we don't know for sure if Di Morris killed these people or not. We don't. We really don't, do we? It would be lovely, wouldn't it, if we all had a crystal ball and we could see, you know, no, innocent, no, guilty. It'd be great. But we don't. But I think when you have a person in prison that's been put in there with very, very circumstantial evidence, you know, no DNA, and they said, oh, but the house was burnt out. It wasn't all burnt out. There was lots of stuff going on in this case that makes it, and eyewitness testimonies and this, that and the other that have come forward, and I think the BBC done, or BBC Wales done a thing on this case, and found other witnesses that's never been questioned, you know, and police didn't want to know. And I think the CPS looked at that and then said, no, we've not found any other evidence, and so it's not enough to make his case unsafe, right? Because that's the aim, is if you feel that you've been convicted of a crime that you haven't done, you're looking for the courts then to allow you an appeal to say that really the case is unsafe, and then you would be, you know, let out. So there's a lot of work, there's a lot of people that's put a lot of time into this case because they believe that this man was innocent. And I think this may continue, because I really do think, and I think the sisters actually said it, they are not going to allow this man to die with this conviction on him. They want his name cleared. And listen, good luck to them and anyone that's helping them with that, you know, and my condolences to the family for the loss of Di. But again, I have to come back now to the Clydach murders, to the family, you know, who was killed, to Mandy, to Doris, to Emily and Katie that were killed. If Di didn't do this, not should we just be trying to clear his name then. We should be trying to look for the people or the person that done this crime, because they've been free for 20 odd years. Why an innocent man has been sat in this prison. So that's an important part to this case. And I believe in when people say they're innocent and there's no evidence, right? And it's all about evidence to back up the CPS's or the, you know, the court's claim that you have done a murder. There is usually evidence, especially in 1999. There's evidence. These people were bludgeoned to death. There is evidence there. But not enough evidence in DNA or anything else, even eyewitnesses, to say that Di Morris done this crime. So I think it's duty as people that you want to try and clear someone, is that you must also investigate who else it could have been, really. I think we have a lot of armchair detectives out there which are very, very good. We have a lot of people that understand evidence and how it's done, and a lot of them are saying there's no way this man could have done this crime. So if he couldn't have done it, let's have put forward suspects that may have done it. There has been others and they've been taken to court, and it's been, you know... do I ever think this is going to be concluded, this case? To be honest, no, I don't. But I'd like to think it would be, in one way or the other. So listen, my thoughts not only go out to Di's family, but they also go out to the family of the people in this case that were murdered. And that's it for the update. So until we have anything else that may come out, this is probably the last video on the Clydach murders for now, until something new comes out. And I wish all parties well. So thank you for watching. You know what to do. Thumbs up. Hit that little bell that tells you when other videos are coming out. You can subscribe anytime you would like. And listen, thanks for watching. Till the next time. Bye bye.